going?
I'm going home, Patrick.
But what about Mr. Krabs?
What about us? We'll never survive in that trench. You said it yourself. This is man's country. And let's face it, Pat. We're just kids.
I randomly came across this scene from the SpongeBob movie recently, and it prompted an idea in my head, which then led to this whole video. So I thank God that I found the clip, and if you're interested in the lesson, the idea, which will be very important, then do stay tuned. And the movie starts out with SpongeBob having very high expectations of becoming the new manager of Krusty Krab 2, or the Krusty Krab 2, probably, is the textbook name. But in any case, as you know, that doesn't exactly work out, and Krabs tells SpongeBob it's because he's a kid. And one of the funniest movie scenes ever, I'd say. SpongeBob's repeating what he's saying into the microphone.
I'm making a complete what of myself? The most embarrassing thing you've ever seen?
I just love that. And this already this already touches on an idea that I spoke about recently, actually in the most previous video, about expectations being so high. You put yourself into a depressive slump if they're not met. So if you're interested on a more in-depth talk about that, watch the video will be in the description for you. Due to his discouragement, SpongeBob decides to go to Goofy Goober Palace. I don't actually know if that's what it's called. I can't remember specifically what the building is called. I just know that the song is about Goofy Goober, and that's kind of the character. Now, while all this is playing out, SpongeBob having way too much ice cream with Patrick, getting on stage, dancing with Goofy Goober himself, and falling over. He even falls asleep at the restaurant itself, or the palace, whatever it's called. As all that's going on, King Neptune realizes that his crown's been stolen, and conveniently there's a note left that there's some pretty serious evidence that was left behind by the quote-unquote perpetrator. It says, "I stole your crown, signed Eugene Krabs." I wouldn't recommend, not that I would give any recommendations to thieves, but if the point is to get away with something, don't leave fingerprints. Oh no, this movie, rewatching it just reminded me of how awesome it is. It's been a long time. And so King Neptune, King Neptune, convinced that Krabs did in fact steal his crown, says he's gonna fry him up and make him a crab skillet or something like that. And he attempts to do so, but before he can, finalize that, SpongeBob arrives on the scene to kind of vouch for Mr. Krabs. But I guess vouch would be the wrong word, because SpongeBob acts pretty uncharacteristically and essentially says that Mr. Krabs sucks. Now, if you had caught SpongeBob on a different day without him being discouraged from not getting the manager job, and not also being lethargic due to having 16 ice cream cones or whatever it was, then he would have been, oh, Mr. Krabs, yeah, he's a good boss, this, that, the other. But again, like I said, I think this is realistic. It's due to some extent because of at least for me, my diet is basically one of the foundations of my life. If I don't get that right, then other things are basically doomed to crumble to some extent. So yeah, considering he was eating so many ice creams and such, I would say that has some play on how he was acting. It's oh, he can't even think straight and he's getting upset, whereas he normally wouldn't be doing this. But he does go on to say, okay, well, if you're gonna kill Mr. Krabs over this, then yeah, it's we can put the past behind us. It's whatever. Don't kill him, bro. That's what he said, literally. So there's an agreement that's came to. How would you say that? Neptune and SpongeBob come to an agreement, not without the quote unquote help from Patrick, because Neptune's saying, yeah, you can get my crown in 10 days, and then Patrick keeps limiting it. He's like, oh yeah, you can do it in 9, and it keeps going down. And so they finally settle on 6 days. That's the amount of time that SpongeBob and Patrick have to go retrieve Neptune's crown from Shell City. That's 1 billion miles away. Pretty lofty task, especially for well, yeah, a couple of kids as they've been called and as they called themselves. And so SpongeBob and Patrick hop into the paddy wagon and head out to retrieve Neptune's crown. And they're very enthusiastic at this point. As they're gone, the entire town is being manipulated, tricked, and brainwashed by putting on these bucket helmets and believing that, oh, Plankton, good friends of Mr. Krabs. Okay, they must be really oblivious, because if anyone thinks that Krabs and Plankton are, like, the people have been in the restaurant as Plankton has come to, like, blow something up, and they're sat here, it's like, oh yeah, Plankton, good friends with Eugene Krabs, and Krabs just gave him the formula and told him to sell Krabby Patties. Yeah, good thing. Be able to critically think if there's any lesson to be learned here, be able to critically think. It's like, that seems off. Look into it. Just like Squidward did. He saw right through it, and he really impressed me by not just, going along to get along. Well, everyone's wearing the hat, so we'll just do it too. It's like, no. Squid was critically thinking, even addressing the issue he saw, even if everyone else thought he was crazy to do so. And he was right to do it. Not only was he right to do it, he was right in what he thought. He's like, he saw, as I said, saw right through it. He's like, dude, you're not friends with Krabs. What are you doing? You stole the recipe. Something like that. Anyway, bravo to Squidward. Not a line that I'll say too often, but he does have his redeeming moments. Just around this time, SpongeBob and Patrick make it to the county line, and a couple of degenerates begin to make fun of them, even stating, oh, let's pay our respects to them. Respects for the dead, that is. And then they begin to laugh. And I'll touch on this a little bit later, but I guess the brief idea with this clip is to not let others' lack of faith deter yours. Other people want you to fail. Don't give them that satisfaction. Throughout the journey, SpongeBob and Patrick continue in their bubble-blowing ways, but still manage to brave the trials of the journey. Of course, there's a bit of nuance there because, yeah, even in life, there's certain habits that are unproductive as you progress and you grow just as an adult or immaturity or character, what have you. But then there are other actions where some might look down on you because of it, but it's not only not deterring you from doing your job, but it might be adding to it. Some could argue it's like, oh yeah, you need to be very stoic to the point that you don't show any emotion, let alone ever do like a dance or something. But it's like, well, what if doing this gives you life to better serve your purpose or what you're doing? So yeah, there's some nuance there, and I think this is a good representation of that. They're blowing their bubbles and stuff, but they still are able to proceed in this journey. So eventually, SpongeBob becomes discouraged because they get to the monster trench, and it's like, this is impossible. And this is when he starts to recall all of the things other people have said about him. He, as I said, becomes discouraged, begins to walk home, and this is the opening clip. He's like, Patrick's like, oh, what about Mr. Krabs? Don't we have to do it for them? And SpongeBob's like, what about us? This is man's country, as everyone's been saying, and even you, and we're just kids. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, conduct, and love, and faith, and in purity. SpongeBob was discouraged because he's a kid, and it was a man's job. Life really is all about acting, in many respects at least. You can act confident when you don't feel like it. You can act kind to those you may not get along with, particularly. Act like you're intrinsically valuable, because you are, even if you don't always feel like it or feel like you're worth being proud about, I guess. Like with SpongeBob and Patrick in this case, when you're called upon for a noble task, the question isn't how capable you are in most cases. It's how willing you are. You do the thing, and that makes you ready. You don't wait till you're ready. And when you're tempted to give up, remember who it's for. Remember your people and lock in, as I like to say. It's like with this example, Patrick even saying, as SpongeBob was discouraged, what about Mr. Krabs? Let's do this thing. Life ought to be lived as you being a vessel for the purpose, not you merely satisfying your wants and needs. And when you view it that way, it becomes a lot easier to do the things that you know are right.
You just gotta believe in yourself. You just gotta believe.
You know, as much as it's kind of an age-old line, or if that's what you call that, or just something that's been repeated and maybe to you it doesn't have meaning anymore, she does have a point. SpongeBob and Patrick go on to do the man stuff when they thought they could due to Mindy's alleged mermaid magic. It might even be helpful, like as it was with them. It could help you to have a physical representation of your perhaps competence. Wow, what am I saying? It'll probably be helpful to you to have some kind of physical representation of your attitude about something, or just a reminder of the values you have. I'll regularly wear either my cross necklace, or maybe I'll have a cross or a word drawn on one of my wrists or what have you, not even because any of those things necessarily work well with the outfit I have or anything like that, but because it reminds me again of my attitude, of the purpose, and the fact that we got to lock in. If I'm ever discouraged, I remember I can look down and I can see when I'm weak, he is strong, and God, his strength is made perfect in weakness. And so, like with SpongeBob and Patrick, they had those mustaches. And yes, of course, I'll get into a bit more of what that was all about. But that was a physical representation that reminded them, oh yeah, okay, here we go. We're men now, so we can do this man stuff. SpongeBob and Patrick then continued the journey after believing Mindy turned them into men. And, you know, they're able to traverse their way through the monster-infested, deep, dark trench. They were being super boofs, you could say, for they were running towards the danger. It's a bit of a reach with that one, I understand, but I like the movie, so give me a break. And it's important to note that as SpongeBob and Patrick are going through the trench, they even had, well, not only did they not have issue at all, but they're even having some fun along the way. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain, just as SpongeBob and Patrick did. And as they exit the trench, they make sure to insult the monsters on their way out.
We made it past everything, even the hideous, disgusting monsters.
I guess they were actually referring to the other monsters, but in any case, just then, Dennis confronts them and reveals the truth about their fake mustaches and lack of mermaid magic. Those poor souls. Of course, this discourages them, but it really shouldn't have, because they should have realized that they should have realized that they just braved the monster trench without any actual advantage given to them, contrary to their belief at the time of doing going through it. This is a great reminder that not only are you more capable than you think, but that thinking so makes it so. It's a pretty, I guess, a common philosophy point or quote that I've read. It's like, a man is as unhappy as he's convinced himself he is, or something like that. But the idea being, it's like, if you believe, I talked about this in another video about the pickles, like no pickles episode. SpongeBob had convinced himself that he couldn't make a Krabby Patty because he had said so, or someone else said so, even though he could make one, and he even knew it in the back of his mind. And of course, he turns out in the end to have done so. But yeah, that's a whole nother important topic. So again, the video will be in the description if you're interested. Now, they do eventually make it to Dude, this is unbelievable how many times I'm like messing up. They eventually do make it to Shell City, where they begin to be dried up by a scorching lamp, losing water by the second. But even in their dying moments, they had each other. Patrick even helping SpongeBob retrieve his hand, or even his arm and hand, as it fell off. Now, this is a really important scene. At this point, it seems like all is lost. Maybe not all, because as I said, the friends still have each other, and the effort is more than a lot of people would have done. Let's assume this is how it ended. Let's assume you fail in the desired outcome. The outcome isn't exactly what you want it to be. As I said, the process of even attempting makes you better and more equipped for next time. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not an adventurer, so I can't do this, say, maybe I'll be a more competent adventurer after doing this thing. It's exactly like what SpongeBob and Patrick did, and they were happy to have made it to Shell City, and that's great. Any success let alone any success you have, or let alone a friend of yours. I'm not going to say praise each other because of it, but celebrate each other. It says in the Word, Romans 12:15, rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. As iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. Again, I've heard many times that praising a good action yields more fruit than just discouraging a bad one, even though that is necessary at times. We did make it, says SpongeBob as he's being dried up. In large part, the destination is the journey itself. I think of it this way: the goal in mind should actually be the means to the end of spurring you on to living a full life. Isn't arriving in life the process of doing the things that lead to desired results? Isn't that the result itself? Now, fortunately, by the combined tears turning into one from SpongeBob and Patrick, it's able to bust the electrical lamp and then set off the sprinkler system, and all the fish wake up, which, yeah, that's how that works, by the way. They ride the Hasselhoff, and they do make it back home. They do save Mr. Krabs. They do a little concert, and they do save the town. And the catalyst for that possibility was SpongeBob and Patrick braving the storm that they even felt ill-equipped for. Training is nothing. The will is everything. The will to act. Of course, prepare yourself for life to the best of your ability, but don't wait to be ready, per se, and then begin. Otherwise, you'll never begin in most cases. With most tasks, you begin doing it, and then by doing it, you make yourself ready, even through a process of trial and error, which is basically the epitome, the idea of a worthy life itself. I've heard this is the case with marriage and kids. You don't become 100% ready. You begin and learn. I can't be clear enough. Do all that you can to prepare yourself for whatever you intend on pursuing. Stop merely asking for what you want in a relationship, to use this same example. Ask God, who do I need to be the best spouse or parent someday? Of course, you're not likely to succeed in a military mission by merely the will to, but things of the sort have happened. And of course, you can't expect to be put on the worship team at a church if you have no musical ability. But my videos are mostly about some hopefully helpful philosophies for everyday interactions and personal development. My advice is given with the assumption that you're already on the path of pursuing virtue and reason, God, to the extent that these caveats aren't necessary, but who knows, dog? So even if you do feel wow, that's a tongue twister. So even if you do feel ill-equipped to talk to that person or try out this new endeavor, if it calls to you, then do it. Especially if it feels almost like a burden, even because you have some minor ability in the department that's calling to you. Even as I think about it now, most of the things that my life consists of, the things I love the most, the tasks I do, started off as either a fluke or even some type of a burden, whether it's being involved with several worship teams or, lifting at the gym or having good relationships with my family. But now it's that which I'm either competent in and or love the most. So to reiterate, if a noble cause calls to you, heed the call in spite of your lack of 100% preparedness, if that's a word. Of course, prepare yourself for life in general, but realize that the destination in life is the process of arriving itself. In many cases, to prepare is to do the thing itself. As an example, what's awesome about fitness? Not simply the physical results, but the power, the life, the triumph of just simply doing the work. One of my favorite parts of life is not just practicing gratitude for the results of certain actions. It's reminiscing on the beauty of the action itself. Conversation with a dear friend, the difficult situation that I trusted God through, and that I did what I thought was right. The work put in when I didn't feel like it. I like the way that a self-improvement YouTuber put it within the last year, talking about consistency. He said, I don't call it a failure if I miss the mark to some extent, 1 time, 2 times, what have you. I haven't failed at consistency if I've done that. You fail at consistency if you stop doing the thing long term. If your goal is to, for example, take a cold shower every day, have you failed because you missed 1 day? Well, not necessarily. Are you going to get back on the train and do you plan to do that for the rest of your life? Well, that's consistency. It's not I messed up one time and therefore I give up. It's no, consistency is to, as I've mentioned in a previous video, I think righteous man falls 7 times but gets back up. If you get back up, if you keep doing it, that's consistency. And so tying this together, if you consistently do that which you know is calling to you, that which has kind of been burdened on your heart, continue to do it. You'll improve at it. Don't think yourself completely unqualified because you perhaps are not an expert in the field yet. Well, thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this helps you in one way or another, so apply it today and wherever and whenever applicable. Check out the description for related and or referenced videos, as well as the verse or verses and quotes that pertain to this topic. Remember to treat others the way that you want to be treated, to love God and to love your neighbor, and therefore you will be your best self. Again, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. And as always, it's an honor.